So I had an thank you, Kent. I had an opportunity to invest in a market center launch in 2014, and part of that was coming to FSO, and part of it was we just started bringing in new people. Anybody in here ever been a part of market center launch? No, that's okay. Launching, there's going to be lots of launches happening, so lots of growth happening with our company. And part of that is you have to go bring a lot of new people into that opportunity. And so in 2014, I started calling everybody I knew. Within 90 days, I kind of got tapped on the shoulder to be the team leader because I was bringing so many people in as a market center investor. And so I served as a team leader for about a year, and then transitioned out of the role. But that year, we launched the #1 market center in the company. We were the #1 production launch for KWRI in 2014. And so from 2014 to about 2017, I did personal production and coaching through MAPS Coaching, and had an opportunity to help launch a second market center in 2017 in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I was a investor in that launch as well. And we got that one up and going. It didn't go as well as the first one, but we got it up and going. And then I just went back to coaching. And 2 years later, the OP in Cincinnati called me and said, hey, our team leader's not getting the job done. We're basically going to be making a change, and we'd like you to step into an interim team leader role for 6 months. So I have time to make a good hire. So my thought was, okay, what's that look like? So I'm like, what do you need from me? And he said, the market center is amazing. It runs perfectly. The only thing I need is for you to come in and help with growth. And I was like, all right. So I come in first day on the job, and I walk into huddle. And the only thing I knew at that time was something called the 2-10-40. Anybody familiar with that? Yes. Sarah's like, yes. All I knew about market centers and growth was there's a secret formula around gross 10 where all kinds of good stuff happens. And in that Cincinnati opportunity, I was only able to be in the market center 3 days a week because of the commute. So I knew I had to have 10 appointments in my 3 days or a week so that we could hit our growth numbers. So kind of came into that first huddle. I said, okay, guys, here's the thing. We're going to go into growth mode, and we're going to start grossing 10 agents a month, every month, and kickstart this market center. And everybody looked at me like I had grown a second head. It was like, what? So I walk out of the meeting, and my MCA pulls me aside, and she goes, Tara, nobody in the market center was hired here with any expectation to help with growth, like the staff. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, we don't even really talk about that. And I was like, do I own a Keller Williams office? And that was the first little red flag or whatever in me understanding we probably have bigger issues than just growth, because our whole mindset wasn't even in the right place, right? So essentially, we started exploring what was going on. So if you've ever turned around a market center or not, here's where I started. I essentially called every agent we'd met with and not hired and asked why they didn't join the #1 company on the planet, #1 real estate company. I called everyone that we had hired and had left us. And then I met with all of our top agents. And I went into the ALC as well. And when I went into the ALC, hold on one second. I got somebody trying to get in. The ALC basically said, well, here's the deal, Tara. We are not going to refer anyone to this company because the experience has been so poor. And I was like, what experience? And they said the onboarding experience is horrible here. So what ended up happening is we started deep diving into systems and realizing that our lack of systems was actually impeding our growth. And what I also knew is if I was going to do this for 6 months, I needed to be able to build something that I could train someone else on and walk away, and it would continue to grow. And like probably many of us on this call, entrepreneurial entrepreneurially, I can turn it on. But if that leader steps out of the role and you that same kind of person in the role, stuff goes backwards, right? So this was all set up around systems that could sustain over time. So I'll give you the numbers. 2019, I came into Cincinnati. We lost 8 cappers my first month, so that was really fun. And I started my journey there with 95 agents. We had 9 people on staff. That's a lot. We had 9 people on staff. None of them had job descriptions, standards, regular hours. It was fascinating. And so 2020, okay, it took me 90 days to get to gross 10, and we never grossed less than 10 after that. My entire time in the role, which ended up being over 3.5 years. I was a team leader for 3.5 years. In 2020, we grossed 137 agents and we netted 72. So we black belted in gross and net. That's an award. In 2021, we grossed 128 and we netted 39. And in 2022, we grossed 135 and we netted 36. Okay. And this is a team leader in the market center 3 days a week. Okay, so what we're going to learn, I know that was a lot of like lean into this, but what we're going to learn is how we can actually put things in place where the market center will grow and be sustainable over time, usually with less staff, less people in the leadership team, but more intentional use of our time, what we're doing, and all of us focused on growth and retention. Okay, good. Great. Awesome. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump in. Thank you for that, letting me share that story while we were waiting for all the people. So also, just so you guys know, Market Center in a Box, how this started was I was building my coaching roster. And my coach said, why don't you teach a class on systems to see if you can get people into MAPS coaching? I'm a MAPS leadership coach. And the first time I taught this class, I think I had 200 people in the Zoom. And like we maxed out our Zoom. And a lot of leadership left that call and they were like, wow, this is amazing. We don't have these systems. So I've been teaching this since 2020. I started during COVID and have grown. I'm no longer a team leader. I am an operating principal in 4 market centers. And we have about 800 agents in our organization. I'm a MAPS leadership coach. And I get to do some other fun things like serve on the National OP ALC. But all of this is built around systems and the ways that they can support you in your roles. So I'm just going to show you this slide. My goal is to get a 5-star review from you guys before you leave today. And so at some point in this session, I'm going to ask you all to just jump in, do the regular KWU review. And KW is kind of watching these systems classes and looking for ways we can integrate it in as a company. So I'm going to start this off with the old school P&G manual. If you guys have not read the P&G manual, I would highly recommend you start there. Reading the P&G manual. So many of you guys probably have reading the P&G manual as part of your onboarding, correct? Do you guys ask agents to read the P&G manual or sign off that they will read the P&G manual? We do. And what I will tell you guys is I'm going to guess very few, if none, ever read the P&G manual. What's cool about our P&G manual is it actually gives us the model to grow a profitable market center. And all the ways we can run our market center are in this P&G manual, is even down to how to run your ALC, which I'll share a story with you when we get further in on that. But highly recommend leadership team as your onboarding staff. They're reading the P&G and we give them a binder with the P&G so we can actually reference the handbook on how to do this well. All right, so growth is a choice. Growth is a choice and it won't happen by accident. Would you guys agree with me? Does growth happen by accident? It
Nope.
doesn't. I also know that if anybody in here likes to geek out on reports, I do. We have 30 to 40% of our market centers right now grossing 0 agents a month. Grossing 0 agents. I think that was in July and August. We had a huge portion of our market centers. So in my mind, not growing is also a choice, because we could probably all agree that if we're running the business in any capacity, somebody's probably going to call the front desk or walk into the market center to figure out who we are at least once or twice a month. Right? So not growing is, I would say it's challenging to not grow at all. It is wild, Sarah. It blows my mind. What I know is if we have market centers grossing 0, we're probably focusing on the wrong things, right? So here's my thought around growth. Growth is a team sport. Recruiting and retention equals growth. Okay. And I shared that story about onboarding with you, and I shared that story about my my leadership team. But retention starts at onboarding. It actually starts when you're scheduling an onboarding. If it's an R0, retention starts long before they ever join your company. It begins with that relationship, right? And the entire team participates in growth. The entire team participates in retention, right? We recruit inside and outside of the organization. So the way that we kind of think of this is every engagement, whether it's with one of our existing agents or a recruit, we're either re-recruiting them or we're pushing them away. And here's the reality. If you don't know, your agents in your market center are being recruited every single day. We all know that. They're getting recruited every single day. Companies are calling and telling them how amazing they are and how much they want them and how much if they came and partnered with them, their life would be easier and they'd make more time and have more money and have more opportunity. They're all saying that. So when we brush past the person in the market center, we've got to ask ourselves, are they feeling that same way? Are we re-recruiting them to our vision and our culture and our models every time we pass them? Or are we brushing past looking for the next person we're going to hire? Right? So growth is a team sport. We win together and we lose together. Everybody plays. Everybody plays. So for us, when we huddle every morning, we've been huddling every morning for 5 or 6 years. We talk about the goal. So I want you to think about football. When the football team comes off the field for a timeout, what are they talking about in that timeout? What are they talking about? What are these guys talking about?
How it's going? What's the next play?
What's the next play? Yeah, we're either winning the game right now or we're losing the game. Someone has strategically called a timeout and they're saying, okay, what is our next play to get the ball across the line, to score? So when we think of Market Center huddle every day, there's about 999 things we can talk about. But the one thing is, what's the goal? What's the score? And what's each person on this team's play today to get us across that line, right? So that is kind of in my mind, when we think about playing together as a leadership team, are we operating like a sports team? Are we operating like a football team or a basketball team? So the first tool you guys will see here, this is your organizational chart. We have multiple market centers, so you guys will have a sample of a multiple market center organizational chart. You're also going to have a sample of a single market center organizational chart. You can click, actually the sample here, when you click on it, it is actually a template. So when you click the QR codes on the slide deck, it will open a template for you that you can just open in your Canva account and customize to your market center. So everything you see, you will have template versions of it. And I'll show you this one. This is multiple pages, but essentially there's a multiple market center org chart. And then we have individual org charts. So why do you guys think organizational charts are important for the market center and the market center vision? Why would we maybe want to start? This would be one of the important parts of running a successful leadership team. What do you guys-
Clarity.
Clarity. Yeah, like who reports to who could be one thing. You guys can see on here, we have some TBDs, like to be determined. You are going to get the slide deck, Stephanie. Yeah, clarity for communication. Like who do I do my one-to-ones and my 411s with each week? Also, opportunity. Like for us, that director of first impression role is generally an entry-level position. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about like our organization. Every person we hire in the director of first impressions role is either a future team leader or a future MCA. That's it. Like we're not going to hire cul-de-sac talent, right? We're going to hire people that we know can come into the organization and find a path in our future vision and grow into something else if they choose to. Right? So you might ask yourself, like, what does that look like for you in your organization? And how do we help people grow into opportunity? And how do they need to perform in the current one to earn those opportunities? So next slide, you guys will see here is market center job description. So I mentioned this early on with our leadership team. We had 9 people on staff for a market center of 95 agents. And actually, I've launched 2 market centers and I've turned around 4, and all of them have been overstaffed. Every one of them were overstaffed. And the reason I think we get overstaffed is we don't have clarity and what I would call KPIs, key performance indicators of how to succeed in the role. So when we look at job descriptions for the market center leadership team, we're crystal clear on their big rocks and what specific standards they need to hit weekly and monthly that we can track, hold them accountable to, and know if they're succeeding or not succeeding in the role. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you guys this real quick. So you have access to this as well. And this is just a spreadsheet. Here's why it's a spreadsheet. If you have a market center with 95 agents, or probably up to 150 agents, you most likely have 3 full-time staff people, right? You have your team leader, your MCA, and your director of first impressions. And then you'll probably have a broker and a PC coach, right? So what happens is you start with 3, and around 150 agents, we go, hey, we've earned the right to maybe hire a director of agent services or a market center tech trainer or whatever the next hire is. And we look at the current person in the role. What are they enjoying? And is there any part of that role they want to take with them? Because we're now splitting a role for 2 people. Because we only have 3 people, those 3 do it all. When we go to 4, we get to give parts of that job to the next person. So for us, this is a real easy way to do this. We keep them all in a spreadsheet, right? And then as we hire, you can cut and paste and move things into each person's job description if and when it changes. Though I will say you should have basic parameters around job description. So here we have the DFI job description, and then we have a 30, 60, 90 in here for this person. There's your DAS job description. There's a 30, 60, 90. We have a team leader job description. We have team leader 1 and team leader 2. If you're running like an R2, R1 team leader or a TL, ATL plan, you've got some options there. There's your MCA job description, 30, 60, 90. AMCA is in here. PC coach is in here. So all your job descriptions are here. And essentially, we use this to navigate making sure that the right pieces are with the right person before we put them into actual job contracts. And if you guys have any questions, come off mute and ask me, and I will gladly answer them. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is essentially what we do next. So in our world, there are 4 documents every single person that joins our company signs off on. Okay. The first one is the confidentiality and non-solicitation agreement. That is a KWRI document. We get this signed in every single role. It's just part of staff onboarding for us, so they understand what that looks like if and when they leave the company. Hopefully they don't. Second one is leadership and staff policies, which for us is what time does the day start and end? Do we have vacation time? Do we have comp time? Do we have any type of tardiness policy? Do we have a dress code? Technology usage on the job? Anything that would be part of just basic, I'm in this business and this is how we operate. That's in there. And there is a sample of that you guys can modify if you don't have one of those. And then the last one is the actual job description. So I'm going to show you this one. This is Director of Agent Services Agreement. So essentially what I've done is I've cut and pasted what's on the spreadsheet into a contract. And this becomes our contract for that employee. And I'm going to I was thinking about this morning. We rarely refer to our leadership team as staff or employees. And yet I'm kind of in this season where I think it's time to operate our business like a business again. And the reality is this is staff and these are employees. And if we don't communicate that way, especially if they're non-KW and they come in, sometimes I think it's hard to hold people accountable because we're always like, we're partners and we're leadership team. But the reality is they took a job with KPIs and standards in a business that has a goal to be profitable. And if they don't perform, we need to know what that looks like to exit that partnership over time. And if they do perform, they probably want to know what their next opportunity is. So you guys can see this is just a staff or leadership contract. The 4th document that everyone that joins us signs is the 52 items of what is culture. We have that in our onboarding packet. They literally initial every single one of the 52. I want them to read it and initial that they understand what is culture. That is a non-negotiable. So that's important to us. And then we outline their compensation, any bonus structure, and they sign off on this and we house this in you can either do Google Drive, Dotloop, DocuSign, or whatever works for your company. Is anybody doing anything different with like an onboarding packet? We also give them some things, like every single person on our leadership team carries a spiral bound MREA. Like we expect that they will learn and be able to consult to the models. So when they join, they get some things, but as far as like documenting job descriptions, standards, is anybody doing anything different? Or did you see anything here that you were like, ooh, we're going to implement that? Are y'all already doing all this?
I love that you have the tasks, all the different elements of the job descriptions on a spreadsheet. And I think the way you explained it makes so much sense that all the jobs are getting done, like from a launch perspective, all the jobs exist. And then as it keeps expanding out, that you can take different roles that we prefer and don't prefer, that we excel at and don't excel at, and then move them into different roles. And I think that's a really great way to look at it for the whole staff to see, listen, as we grow, there's more opportunity. And as you get more opportunity, the things you don't like doing, let's put them in a bucket and then let's bring on the next person who loves those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then people get to continue to operate in their strengths and everything is still getting done because we're just moving it from one person to the next person we hire, or they're keeping it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps you guys. Like I will say Cincinnati, we had 9 on staff. I went into Louisville, Kentucky. We bought a market center, also 9 on staff with a market center of about 100. Southern Indiana, I just went into 9 on staff for a market center of 65. So the first thing I got to do was just meet with all of these people and say, what do you actually do? When do you show up? And we had to start reallocating who was going to be in what role to get us back to model. And what I have learned is if there is clarity on the job description, because now I can take their job description and I can put it in a time block. And the person that's managing them or they're reporting to knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm going to show you this one again, because I want to make sure you understand how clear it is. For us, Director of Agent Services, if we have 4 on staff, does our zero recruiting. They have I mean, it's clear, 40 recruiting appointments a month. They're to gross 8 a month, right? So then that's real easy when we go in to help them with their time. It's not like, hey, we're going to hire our zeros. It's, do you have 8 to 10 appointments a week on your schedule blocked? And then have we blocked time for you to do the other things, which, you know, this is a big one for us. Everybody on our leadership team, from DFI, MCA, team leader, everybody holds 5 30-minute retention appointments a week. So those don't happen accidentally. And do you have a minute? Like somebody popping into the office, hey, I don't want to bother you, is very different than us calling and saying, hey, we haven't seen you in the market center this week. We've got a cool new tech tool, or hey, I'd love to sit down and go through your economic model, your goals for 2025. That feeling is way different than like, I don't want to bother you, but I have a quick question. So as you start to line out what you expect of your people, be crystal clear. The acronym we teach a lot is SMART: specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound, so that we can actually gauge if this person is able to do the role. And then help them if they're not, right? Yeah. Okay, so we'll keep going. So that is there. Is Katie Force White in here? Does anybody see her? Yes, okay, just making sure. She was locked out. Hey, Katie. Okay, so this next one is just a little bonus. If and when you are hiring for your staff or leadership team, we've just created some social posts, and you guys will have access to that segment of, there's just some posts we've used in the past for posting and the positions that you guys will have access to, and you can customize and edit. Okay, so the next thing I want to share with you guys, this is a leadership team tracking tool. And when we built this, we had 3 market centers. So I'm going to show you this. The first thing that you'll see on this is our consulting videos tracker. So every person that joins our organization gets a 30, 60, 90. In their first 90 days, we want them to watch all of the consulting conversations. Now, we've kind of gamified this. So you guys will have this, you can copy it. But essentially, we hear people talk about the consulting conversations with Jason Abrams being 5 or 6 videos. When you go into Connect, there's actually like 165 videos. Okay, and these range from starting with your why, nailing a needs analysis, systemizing their business with a tech audit, unlocking the agent profitability with 30, 30, 40. We have grow the agent's business with the people assessment. So these are smaller videos and or exercises, empower agents to build wealth, recruit indies, and cultivate lasting relationships. So I guess my question for you guys would be, I'd love to hear a couple of you share. If every single person we hired on our leadership team watched and learned all of these models, from the DFI to the MCA to the team leader, and we're holding 5 retention appointments a week and consulting to the models, how would that change your market center?
It would be crazy. This is Heather. Sorry, I have to have my camera off because the video is janky. Doesn't work in Alaska very well. It would change the entire culture of our market center, and it would change the entire, it would bring so much clarity and so much, I think just so much leverage to the leadership team when everybody's doing it instead of just one person doing it.
I agree. I was the team leader, and what I don't think works well, and I think a lot of market centers operate this way, is the team leader is responsible for all the growth, all the save conversations, all the retention appointments, running the sales meeting, running the daily huddles. And you look up and the team leader's literally catching everything because we've not empowered a leadership team to run alongside of us. And like, here's the thing, you guys, it's totally okay if you have limiting beliefs around this. We've had to navigate through this at some level. I want you to think about it this way. If everybody on your leadership team read the MREA, what percentage of your agents, your agent pool, your current agents, would you guys be ahead of? What do you think? 50%? What percentage of your current agents in your market center have read the entire MREA? What's a good guess? I see 1%.
Maybe 2%.
Maybe 2%. So then my next question is, if everybody on the leadership team read it twice, can we now out-consult our agents? And the reality is if we're hiring people that can't read the MREA and aren't learning based and aren't excited enough to share that with somebody else, we probably aren't hiring the right people anyway. So, you know, Lexi's on here. Lexi works with me in for our 4 market centers. She's been with me a year. She's not licensed, and she's read the MREA 5 times. Do you think Lexi can consult? She can probably out-consult 80% of the team leaders in our company, in our entire company, because she's mastering the models. And who sets the pace for that is your leadership team. So if I'm a team leader feeling like I catch everything, I'm probably going to wake up one day and say, hey, we're supposed to be a team. I can't play offense, defense, run the ball, catch the ball, and be the punter. Right? So, that's what this looks like. And so I'll just show you guys, this is a spreadsheet and it's a little complex for our team. But I'll just kind of show you what it looks like. We have basically put the leadership team standards in a daily tracker. So we ask our agents to track their numbers. We also ask our leadership team to track their numbers. So if they're green, they're a recruiting role. If they're blue, they're a retention role. And you can see on here that they track dials inside. Inside would be retention, right? Dials inside, dials outside. How many contacts did you make inside and outside? How many appointments did you set? How many did you hold? How many hires did we make? R1s and R2s. How many guests were at our market center trainings? And then here's the last one. Did we update everything in Command MC that we did that day, right? And then if you go down and you look into like more of a retention role, how many referrals did we make to the team leader? Because here's the reality. If we have everyone on our leadership team doing 5 valuable consulting appointments a week, how many referrals should we be getting? 5. That's right. Like, so if you have a market center leadership team of 5 people, and all 5 are also doing 5 retention appointments a week, and we actually are consulting to the models and it's a valuable appointment. And at the end of every appointment, we ask them who else they know that would benefit from the models that Keller Williams offers. And we got 5 referrals. You're getting 25 warm referrals a week just from your leadership team doing their job really well. If you're a team leader on the call, you should probably be getting off now and go putting this into place. I'm just kidding. But it's big, right? Because this is the difference between working smarter and working harder. So our team can support growth, or we can just tell the team leader to go sit in their office and cold call all day. right? So this is just a tracker. If you guys want to do something like that, we have done year-to-date numbers. So we have a total tab, which is great because if you have multiple market centers, they can compete. If you have one market center, you can also see where you guys are at ongoing. And what we do is we huddle daily for 30 minutes. On Fridays, we huddle for an hour. We do 30 minutes of huddle, and then we do 30 minutes of training. So we're either going to go through a consulting video as a leadership team, or we're going to review our numbers and say, you know, where's the gap right now? And we're going to look at ways to get better. Okay. This good? Couple little things for your leadership team. Good. So you guys have access to that. And on that note, let's talk a little bit more about leadership team development. So I mentioned to you all, every single person that joins our leadership team gets a spiral bound MREA. We tell them we're hiring you because we believe you are talent and we want you to master the model so you can consult to them. And this is your gift from us. Notes at MREA, we give them other books too, but that one is theirs and there's something special about carrying it around, right? And then the other thing is everyone on the leadership team carries a leadership report binder. So I'm going to kind of show you guys mine. That's what it looks like in the video. This is just you will rarely see this girl in a market center or any training. I will have this at KWRI at FSO next week because they will ask a question and I will want to reference my multi-year trends. So if we're going to run a business and treat our team as leaders, we should probably be speaking to the numbers every day. So we keep a rankings report of all the market centers in the region on the first page. We have our multi-year trends in here. Everyone carries their 411 in here. We have the what is culture in here, 52 items of what is culture. We also have the key pages of the MREA. So there's some shortcuts there for MREA, shift, and then everyone carries the short version of their KPA. My Lexington office in Huddle today decided to actually put every single person's job description in here, especially if that's new, because if everybody doesn't know what everybody's doing, it creates confusion. So if it's like, hey, who's going to create the event for career night? You just scan to the back and you go, whose job is that actually to do that? So we're not like running helter skelter. Okay. Anybody else carry any other reports around as a leadership team that you guys talk about regularly or anything? If you see I'm missing something, let me know because I actually learn a lot from you guys. Okay. There's your culture in action. So here's what I will say here. We do a leadership advance at least twice a year, sometimes quarterly, and you guys are going to get a sample of that on the next slide, I think. But we always start leadership advance going through this. And how this started was 3 or 4 years ago, we did our first advance and there were 20 of us here and we handed out the culture in action and it was our icebreaker. So we let them go around and popcorn around and everybody read their favorite thing. And everybody got one and we just kept going till we read all 52. At the end of that, I asked the group, okay, how many of you guys, that's the first time you've ever read all 52 items of What is Culture? Anybody want to guess? What percentage?
All.
It was 100%. And what was interesting was we talk about every single day what culture is. So that day I said, okay, that's the first time we've read actually what Mo Anderson and Kay Evans have defined this as. And so when we say, well, that agent's in culture, they're out of culture, that's not culture. Do we actually know what it is? Because the reality is these 52 items are what culture is. This is what Keller Williams defines culture in action to be. So our leadership team has to actually know that, right? Because then we can speak to culture and actually know what it is. Not how it makes us feel, just actually how culture shows up. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to show you guys, this is a leadership advance. So I told you that we do these about once a quarter. This is the one we did. I think we did this one in May or June, maybe. Always start with what is culture. We did a book club prior to this, and this time we read The Leader Who Had No Title, which is essentially about, regardless of your role, anybody can be a leader. It was an amazing book. So just really more looking for ways to empower our people. Talked about growth. We always look at year-to-date gross and year-to-date net nationally, because sometimes we think we're doing well, and then we go, but actually, what is the best doing? Right? And so we look at that. And this one is super important. Number 38 in the what is culture in action. If you guys don't know, number 38 is Keller Williams culture is building your level 1 profit share downline to 15 as quick as possible. So here's our challenge or opportunity. This happened in that same meeting, essentially. So we did what is culture. Somebody read 38. And I stopped us and I said, okay, there's 20 market center leaders sitting here. How many of you have 15 in your downline currently? Anybody want to guess? It was 0. It was 0. So as a market center leadership team, how do we speak to how amazing profit share is if we're not participating? We can't. And here's the thing. We can't even ask our agents to go do this if we're not willing to do it first, because that's actually what leadership looks like. So that was the day we decided as a market center leadership team that we could also go have a really great dinner out and have an awesome server and invite that server to career night. Anyone on the market center leadership team can do that, right? Anyone on the market center leadership team can talk to someone about how amazing a career in real estate is, right? So if our leaders, your leaders kind of set the lid, right? So law of the lid from John Maxwell is kind of the lid, where the leader is becomes the lid for everyone else. And so we start day one with our director of first impressions and MCAs. How do we help them grow their downline? Because then they can sit down in front of an agent and tell them how amazing it is to get the gift of profit share every single month. It's hard to sell it if you're not living it. Okay, so then we talk about job versus passion. We actually don't have any jobs in our organization. We hire people that are passionate about impacting people's lives. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk about talent versus non-talent. This specific one this year, we reviewed everybody's job descriptions. And what was interesting was I had each person come up in front of the room and read their job description, every line of it, for the whole group. It was mind-blowing. Nobody really knew how much everybody had on their plate, and they didn't really understand how to best support each other. So we've done it this way. We've also plugged this stuff into Kahoot and made a game out of it. Like, guess whose job this is? Guess who does this? But I think understanding and acknowledging each other and all the things we do in the market center is a pretty important part of running a great team. We did a cash talk exercise for this one. And then this was a really fun one. I had the leadership team do the 5 love languages quiz. And I went on Amazon and bought 20 or 30 things that were in front of the room, like just gifts, basically, tied to the love languages. So everybody did their love languages. We had them put them in a bucket. We drew each other's name out, and they got to say what their love language was. And so what was interesting is most of the people on our leadership teams, we thought gifts would be big. I don't think anybody had gifts. Lexi, correct me if I'm wrong. Quality time was almost everybody's love language. I think
Yeah.
quality time and words of affirmation.
No gifts, quality time, and words of affirmation were our top. We had one touch, I think, but everybody else was one of the other two.
So then if we're going to run ourselves ragged in the market center, pouring into people all day long, how do we fill each other's bucket? And it was amazing when we started thinking about, like, if quality time is our love language, how much time are we actually giving each other? And so we just kind of learned some stuff about each other and looked for ways that we can pour into each other, knowing that we all have a lot going on. This is the Market Center referral link. I'm going to walk y'all through that next week. But this is actually the only way we receive referrals, specifically, especially for our zeros. And this is the locations.kw.com link. It drops immediately into Command MC. If you're not using that link, if there's any OPs on the call, I can tell you, I've learned this, you probably have leads being lost. And the value of a lead in a market center is the cost of a cap. So when we get a referral from an agent and it goes on a Post-it note and it's stuck on someone's shoe as they walk out of the market center or whatever, have we actually honored that referral? So we're going to teach you guys our referral and growth systems next week. We also kind of train them on how to log appointments, how to log retention appointments. We were doing TL 30, 60, 90. We practice retention scripts, right? So if we're going to do calls for Bold or a class or event, because in addition to retention appointments weekly, we do retention conversations weekly. So what are we going to talk about when we call these guys this week? And then we trained our entire leadership team on our recruiting presentation. So everybody on our leadership team could sit down with probably an easily R0, R1, and do a recruiting presentation. And then we talk through market share reports and numbers with market share. We have templates for this stuff. If you guys see anything that you want, we pretty much have all of this built. And then for us, we partner with Keller Home Loans. They let the agents get a lending license and receive a portion of the commissions. You know, your leadership team can also do that. So we offered the opportunity for our leadership team to get their lending license and be able to receive lending commissions, which is a financial bonus for them, right? And they're already in the industry. We don't actually have them actively selling, but this is an easy thing they could do to make additional money. Okay. And then we went through some goals, where we were at, and did an individual huddle wrap up, bucket fills. And I filled somebody's bucket actually somebody on our leadership team. I was walking through the market center that morning and I saw this playbook stuck on somebody's office with a little love note. So I filled her bucket. Like this is, and by the way, this girl had been working with us. What do you think, Lexi? 45 days?
At that point, yeah, maybe not even. She hadn't been there that long.
She's been at Keller Williams 45 days and she's digging out playbooks to give to agents. She's bumped into the market center to help them grow their business. Yep. And then we did a happy hour. So that's just a sample of a leadership advance. For us, it's generally like 9 or 10 to 3 or 4, and then we go do something fun. So I highly recommend like doing this at a minimum twice a year, if not more, and, you know, do something nice for them. You might have to spend a little bit of money or get a sponsor, but these guys, if you have the right people, they're pouring their heart and soul into your market center. And sometimes they got to get a little break and get their bucket filled too. Okay. This is the same, tracker that I showed you before. This is the consulting conversations tracker that was on the other spreadsheet. I'm going to show it to you guys here. We did a contest initially. So when new people join, we want them to watch all these videos in their first 90 days. But for your existing staff, you could do a contest. And the way we did this is we put them all on, we gave them 30 or 60 days. And then the way we did it is the first one to finish got the prize. What I would recommend is everyone who finishes in that timeline gets entered into a drawing. And you just kind of gamify this so we can get everybody caught up. Okay. And then another big thing for us is shared calendars. Is everybody doing shared Google calendars? This is a game changer. I'm actually going to, oh goodness, we got to do that, Heather. Let me get my calendar up and I'll show you this. How do I get to my calendar? So when people join our leadership team, before they even get access to their email, we've done all the calendar sharing. Calendar sharing from everybody on the team to them and their calendar to everybody else on the team. Okay, so I'm going to go in and kind of show you what this looks like. So this is me. And if you scroll down here, I can see every single person on my team's calendar. I can see my MCA's calendar. There's my MCA's calendar. I can see my DAS calendar. She's on vacation this week, but she's on this call. Every single person on the leadership team, we've taught how to time block. And we also have set up their calendar in such a way that we all have access. And here's why. We'll go more into detail on this in a minute, but if it's Saturday at 10 a.m. and somebody tells me they passed their exam and they're ready to onboard on Monday or Tuesday, I'm not going to say, okay, let me get a hold of so-and-so and see if they're available. Or, you know, we'll get with you next week and see when a good time is. I'm going to open the onboarding person's calendar. Maybe I'm sitting out by my pool. I'm going to open their calendar and I'm going to say, hey, I'm looking at Peyton's calendar. Peyton is available Wednesday at 10 a.m. Would that work for you? And then I'm going to plug this person directly into Peyton's calendar. We don't abuse this. I know that that's her job and I know that she's saved time to do onboardings each week, right? So it allows you to not have to pass people around. You just plug them in. Same thing with recruiting appointments. If somebody reaches out on the weekend and says, hey, my buddy would like to come in and meet with the team leader next week, you can absolutely connect them, or you can just say, I'm looking at my team leader's calendar. She has time. I have access to all my team leaders' calendars. And I'm an OP and everybody on my team has access to mine. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but they know when I'm available. They know when they can put stuff on my calendar. This is my team leader's calendar. So I can see she's going into a recruiting appointment in 2 minutes, right? So it just allows us to have accountability as a team and easier access without passing people around. Okay. Anybody have thoughts or questions or anything you're doing differently on this?
I would love to know how, like I noticed on your tech assistant's calendar, it's like she blocked it out for that event. How do you do that where it's like a holding spot without it?
This,
Like, I'm assuming she's like, yeah, I can take an appointment Wednesday at 10 a.m. and you know that because she's got a holding spot there, but how does she
oh,
holding
yeah.
spot?
This is a setting in Google Calendar. So this for her is a calendar link that she has in her email signature too. So agents can click, just like Calendly, Google has that function. So they can go in and book into her calendar, but she's designated specific times that they can do that. It's not just a free for all. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep. Making sure I don't. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that is your shared calendar. I'm going to show you guys quickly. We have built systems into our calendar invites, and this is probably one of my favorite things. So let me go back over here and show you this. So Peyton, for example, I'm going to go out a week. the person doing onboarding for us, we know to hit our goals, we need to have about 12 onboarding appointments a month. So we've designated, they sit in Sunday. If you want to put them somewhere, you can. But essentially, if somebody calls me and says, I passed my exam, I'm going to open this calendar invite. This is Peyton. She does onboarding. Also included in these is my team leader, Kristen, and my MCA, Lindsay. So when we book one of these, everybody knows an onboarding has been scheduled. Okay. I'm actually going to show you guys Lexi's because hers are a little more robust here. Not Lexi, do you have these now or does Hallie have them?
No, they're all on mine. You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I think I have all the market centers with the exception of Seven Hills on there.
okay. So here's what we have. Let's say that Lexi passed her exam and wants to be booked into the calendar. I'm going to go in. I'm going to look at the schedule. I'm talking to the person and I say, hey, Lexi's available at 9 on Tuesday or 9 on Thursday, which is better for you. They say 9 on Tuesday. So I say, okay, great. I'm going to send you a Google Calendar invite with our address and what you can be prepared for the meeting. So what we've included here is what they can bring. So please bring your credit card, your bank account and routing number, the social security number for your beneficiary, right? These are things that get people stuck during onboarding. This is the ICA packet, so they can review the onboarding documents before they arrive. We have the profit share video and then a video about KW Cares. We also have included, it's not in here right now, an explanation on video of the pay plans.
Check
There's
the Commonwealth one.
That's the Commonwealth. Yeah, there's nothing worse than like our DFI does onboarding for us. The person shows up and they forget the pay plans. And then you have the DFI trying to re-explain how they're going to get paid, which is not really in their wheelhouse, right? So you can build into Google Calendar invites whatever you want, which is going to make the actual appointment better. Okay. And then we have in here things that they're going to go over in the appointment. I recommend you guys, like you'll see down here, we offer them the Ignite book. It's $35. KW prints them for that price. But the thing is you've got people that are going to come in wanting to run and gun, and you may not have Ignite for another 90 days. So now they at least have a manual of things and checklists and things they can start doing right away. Okay. And then the other things we do is like, we're going to go more into detail on onboarding, but we add them to any communication groups. They get their key and fob, they get a t-shirt and some other stuff that we do as part of their welcome. We want that experience to feel very concierge. And yes, Sarah.
Tara, I know you're sharing everything with us. Is that actual calendar, like all those words, is that in a template somewhere as well?
That's on that slide. And I
Okay.
don't know if we have it where you can copy the links, but just email me and I'll get it to you.
Okay, awesome. That is gold alone, just that one piece.
Good. Here's the other thing we do with recruiting. I did this 100% of the time with recruiting appointments. So in my recruiting appointments, I have built in the address, the reminders, but also can't wait to meet you. Here's some videos to watch before our appointment. And what's interesting is about 80% of the time they show up, they've already watched like 5 really powerful Keller Williams videos. And the one that we really want them to watch is this, How Big is Your Opportunity? This is the opportunity map video by Matt Lee. But we also have like Where Entrepreneurs Thrive. They can do the command kind of demo. There's some other stuff in here too. So what's pretty cool if they've watched it is they show up and you say, hey, did you get a chance to watch the videos before the meeting? And they say, yeah, I watched all of them. Great. Like what stood out to you? And they go, man, I really loved, and like, it doesn't matter what it is because now my recruiting appointment is warm and I'm not starting at ground zero. Right? So I'll just tell you, KW has a million resources. you guys probably know what you're recruiting to, so I would stack this with things that are gonna get you ready to sign these guys. Okay? All right. Anything else? There's a ton of stuff we can talk about in the calendar. Those are the two big ones, recruiting appointments with built-in links and then onboarding with built-in links. Here's the other thing I will say, if I'm consulting an agent, my agent consulting appointment is a repeating event and I keep notes in my Google Calendar because Google Calendar, you can do notes. So let me just kind of see if I can show you this. And here's why I do that, because I'm just not that smart. I can't keep up with it. Let me see if Becky has notes. This is a top 20% consulting meeting. I meet with her once a month. My VA puts their multi-year trends in so we can easily open those. And we track what our action items are so that when I get in the next time, I know what I've talked to the top 20% about. It's just too much to keep up with, right? So this specific one, we focused on expireds and FSBOs our last meeting. And that's what we'll start with the next time. I don't know why the date is that, but yeah. Okay. So just a little calendar system. The next one, you guys, is Market Center GPS. So there's lots of ways you can do this. I'm also a big fan of the Paint by Numbers tool. I mean, we coach to that, but I think for the purpose of the leadership team, we have done this. It's about a 2-hour meeting with your leadership team. You could have your investors in there if you wanted, ALC. So we've built just a sample GPS. So you've got your priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, and then we actually break these down and get pretty granular with what is happening for the whole year in the Market Center around each priority and everything involved in it. And you'll see on this tab, best practice is you have a responsible party for it. So who's responsible for the calls to the agents throughout the year? Who's responsible for the events? Who's responsible for whatever it is you plan, which we're going to go through kind of our event model, but yeah, so that's kind of that. You guys will see that in there when you get in the slides. So, hey, Lexi, will either you or Kent just drop in the chat the links that we include for recruiting and onboarding?
Yep.
And then that way these guys can grab them and we can put them in the email after the class today too, so you guys have them. Okay, so our kind of like jam with events is our goal is to systematize the events in a way that we can keep up with them, but also we want to model to the agents how to do this. We also want to partner with the agents to make it easier for them. Okay, so our model that we kind of run the play on is once a quarter, we're going to do an agent only event for our Market Center agents. Once a quarter, we're going to do a client event that we host and partner with them on. And once a quarter, we're going to do a pop by or a pop by workshop. Okay, and I'm going to explain what these are. And then you guys are going to get some resources around this, but essentially an example. And so if you look at this, you can see the months we plan them out in. So agent events, we've done a March Madness event. We've done a summer barbecue, Reds game. Obviously our holiday party is usually Q4. Example of a client event, we've done a flower thing. So they pay for this. So client events would be like a flower giveaway. We always do a pumpkin pie or a pie giveaway. We've done reverse bold 100s in the forms of cash or like the Bengals ticket giveaway was one that we did. And then pop buys or pop buy workshops would be, we either create a pop buy and put it in their mailbox, or we get agents to RSVP that would like to come in and do a pop buy workshop with us. And it usually looks like 25 pop buys for $35. We just do the cost of it. They RSVP like, hey, I want 50 pop buys. They come in that day for 2 or 3 hours. We have it set up in a workshop and they sit down and they assemble their pop buys and we do custom tags for them. So essentially, like we try to make events easy where they can participate with us and it's much cheaper to do it that way. That makes sense? Anybody have questions on this? Or doing something different? And by the way, we don't pay for anything. So we're gonna get into our affiliate program in a minute, but like, if you're thinking, oh, there's no way we could do this, you can do it. You just have to have a great affiliate program and a program and plan for them to participate. So I'll give you an example. This $2,000 cash giveaway, the agents all pitched in $50. So we needed 40 agents to pitch in $50. We pooled the money and the market center provided all of the resources. And on that day, the designated date, everybody's clients called in and registered to win. And then we do a live spinner and we draw a winner. Nobody knows that 40 agents are participating. They all advertise as if it's their individual client event. Okay, so we just kind of make it easy and cost effective for them.
Do any of your committees assist with the coordination of this? Which committee?
Yes. This is culture committee.
Okay.
I would say, if you could wave a magic wand and have anything, your culture committee would be co-chaired. And you'd have one that focused on community service, Red Day, blood drives and all that, and one that would focus more on the events. And best practice is honestly, you tie them together. So when we do Pi Day, we'd like the consumer to bring in canned goods to donate to a local food drive, right? So you can partner them together where every time you do an event with your agents, we're also supporting the community. Okay, so you guys are going to get access to this drive and it is literally all like a bunch of events we've done. It's not all of them, but it's enough to probably get you started. And I'll show you this. So this is an event we did here in Lexington. In the event, so once they pay, they get access to the drive and the drive holds the resources, okay? We started this with, was anybody here when KW did, I think it was called Bet on Red, the contest? Okay, so we stole the Bet on Red toolkit and we use this for our events. Okay, so in the toolkit, so this event was last March, 2-night stay at the Castle in Versailles. It's a resort place, and dinner for two. They basically got a $1,200 gift card. Okay, so the agents promoted this as their event, and on that day, which was the 8th, Tuesday the 8th, between 2 and 6 p.m., the agents' clients could call in and register to win. And so we do a potluck in the market center. There's 20, 30, 40 people here, and they're all just sitting there lead receiving for hours. It's wild. And so we have best practice, and the toolkit includes your email for promoting, your text or your script for phone conversations, a text, and then we also build for them social media posts to market it. So it's all built. Let's see if we can find a picture here. I think this will be a graphic. So there's a graphic. So they all shared these graphics all over social media. Some of them did their own, but this is a reverse Bold 100, and we have some samples of how to do that at the highest level in here. There are other events in here. We have Pi Day and things like that. When we do the giveaway, for something here. If you're doing a reverse giveaway, on that specific day, we use a Google form. So we turn the form on at 2 o'clock and the agents sit with their phone and the Google form up, and the person calls and they literally ask the questions. And I'm going to see if I can find one. I thought I had one in here. So this is the Google form. We did a 2 or 3 night stay at a cabin in Cincinnati. Like, so you can see here, we had 1,067 people enter that event. when they call in, the agent puts their name in, and then the client's first and last name, their phone number, their email address, their mailing address, their birthday. So we've picked up 5 data points for their database. Who do you know that's interested in buying or selling a home or possibly refinancing this year? And then, are you currently a licensed real estate agent? Yes, no, or I'm interested in real estate licensing classes. So this event becomes a lead funnel for us for career nights and our zeros to participate in getting the real estate license. And I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like. So at the end of the event, we cut all the names and we put it in a spinner. What is the spinner we use called? wheelofnames.com. It's just a free spinner. You drop them in, it spins, and it lands on a winner. This was our interest in a real estate list for that one. And then we essentially cut each agent's list and we send it to them after the event. So they get all their entries. What's pretty cool about this is we track it and we tell the story. So who do you know that's interested in real estate? It's not uncommon for us. We probably had over 100 referrals, maybe 150 on this event. So like you can see, these are people that are interested in real estate. And so the agents sit there and just lead receive all that for 4 hours. That's a reverse bold 100. But just so you guys can kind of see, we've kind of systematized events, and this is a part of our value proposition when people join our market center, is we're going to come alongside you and provide opportunities for you to service your database at a higher level. Anybody have questions on this one?
It's so good. There's no question, but we've been talking about implementing this for, I don't know, probably 2 years, and it becomes overwhelming with the details. So the fact that you have it all dialed in so completely and have simplified it is just, it's so good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So if you scan this QR code or click it, when you get the slides, it'll just make a copy of this in your drive and you guys can do what you want with it. Any ahas in this first section? We're going to jump into, I think, onboarding. Any takeaways or anything you guys are excited to implement? Okay, we'll keep going.
I mean, I can't, as someone who loves to give the classes, I know it's important to get the feedback. I feel like I could comment on every single thing you're sharing and say like, yes, and I know my team's on here and I'm sure each one of them is like, oh my gosh, it's like the easy button for all the things we've had glitches with. So I would say your ahas are too abundant, and it's like, okay, what first and who's taking on what piece? Yes.
What are we going to do? Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm going to check here. Yes, more event stuff. Here's what I do need to tell you this about the event. If you're not doing any, the first time we did it, like they don't know what we're talking about. Just FYI. Like we're like, oh, we're going to do a giveaway. And they're like, what do you mean? And we'll do it and have great results for 15 or 20 people. And then you see a top producer, and you're like, why weren't you at the event? And they were like, I didn't even know what that was. So just know the first time you do it, it might be smaller. And then you've got to like max out your storytelling. Put this in your newsletter that you're sending out to recruits. Put it in your newsletter you're sending to your market center. You know, we always tell how many call-ins we had, how many referrals we got, how many people in real estate school. So we try to tell the story in a way that, yes, we do panels at sales meetings. When we are getting ready to do the next one, we usually do a panel too and say like, hey, I had an agent once that did this. She had, I think, 38 call-ins, and between event to event, she sold 6 pieces of business. And it was like $60,000 in GCI for an event she pitched $50 in for, you know? And so once they figure it out, they think it's pretty amazing. Okay. We are going to jump into onboarding. So I shared that story about our market center. The first system we built was an onboarding system because I spent months trying to chase people back to Keller Williams, many of which came, onboarded, and left 2 weeks later because the experience was so horrific. So our onboarding tracker, here's kind of how this worked. I called my MCA after that ALC meeting and I said, hey, do we have an onboarding system? And she said, yes. And I said, great. She said, actually, we've got a couple. I said, okay, what do we have? She said, well, first we bought a tool called Macromotus. Macromotus is an automated system, kind of like Trello, where you can put someone in it and it'll go through a series of things where they finish something and go to the next person and they do something and the next person. It's like a flow, process flow. The challenge is with Macromotus, you've got to know your system well enough to get it imported. So we had bought the system and we're not using it because we didn't actually know what the checklist needed to be. So I said, let's cancel Macromotus. We're going to build a spreadsheet. We'll do this system. And when we've mastered it, we'll plug it into Macromotus. Now we are 4 or 5 years later, we're still using the spreadsheet. Like we haven't found a reason to go back and purchase Macromotus. The second part of that conversation, not as fun, is I said, so what is the system? And she said, oh, we have one. And I said, where is it? And she said, well, it's right here in my head. And I said, honey, here's the thing. This girl wakes up at 3 a.m. and if you don't know me, this is true. And I worry about the things I did during the day or the things coming in the next day. And if I need to if I need to know where the girl we onboarded is last week and her experience, I got to be able to see it because I don't think you want me to call you at 3 a.m. Right? I wouldn't have called her. But the point was, in somebody's head is not a system and it's not exposed enough to hold it accountable, in my opinion. So what we did is we put this in Google Drive so that everybody on our team can see it. So now the person owning it has a layer of accountability because it's visible. We open it up in huddles and we look at it. And we've got standards around who does what, how it's done, when it's done by, and the experience we want to give people. Okay, so that's kind of how this started. And I'm going to show you this. So basically, this system is, you can see here at the bottom, well, actually each one of these has it. So our DFI does the majority of this. So they sit down with the agent, they do that onboarding meeting. This is the back of the house system. So this is, okay, have we created the orientation binder? Have we added them to our company chat app? Have we done the welcome gift? If they're licensed, have we put them in a 3-way text with the broker so they can navigate the broker the licensing transfer, right? It's everything we do to make sure that this experience is owned by us and not driven by the client, which is the agent. And here's how you know if you're missing something. If they start asking you where something is, they're ahead of you. And that's not a good thing. So our job and goal is to lead the experience. And our goal ultimately is to get a 5-star review from it. We want we tell them our goal is for you to have a 5-star experience. And actually at the end, we're going to ask you to leave us a review, letting us know if we've done this well. And if we're missing it, we'd like to know in the middle or somewhere else how we can make it better. Okay, so literally checklist by checklist by checklist, what we do. Here's our command smart plan. So you guys, when they onboard with us, we add them to, like, their sponsor gets an email. They get a templated email saying, congratulations on sponsoring a new person to the company. They go on a 30-day orientation tracker that our DAS manages. They get a birthday smart plan set up, an anniversary smart plan set up, their neighborhood nurture smart set up, and we do an onboarding experience, a smart plan if we're not actually doing that in person. Okay, so this is how we own the process. What we do is we have a template of this, and each month we just make a copy of the template and rename it for that month. So what happens over time, this is what it looks like in our actual live one. You can see, so then this month we hired 12 people. And you can see where they're at and what part of the process is completed. Our target for this, we started at 7 days or less. We feel really confident you can get through the entire onboarding checklist in 2 days or less from when they onboard. Okay, so this is just an onboarding tracker. Let's see. Anybody have questions on this one? Or anybody doing anything different? I think I get to show you the survey. It's coming up. There it is. Okay. The next slide that you guys will see when you get in here is our packet. So of course, in our market centers, this was super messy. We keep these in Canva, which makes it really easy for editing. If you've got to go in and edit, you guys will get a sample of this. But it's essentially an entire onboarding packet, cost of the association, all their information. If you have any type of onboarding fee or repayment program, we have 2 pay plans, so they get to pick their pay plan here. We address KW Cares. There's that P&G manual one that nobody reads. We've talked about printing that for every person, but we haven't figured that out. Non-discrimination agreement, personal rental property, car insurance, key fob, whatever you guys are required by your state and your market center, I would keep this in here. That's pretty standard. There's the ICA and brokerage policies is coming. We have recently, we're working on all of our updates for the NAR changes. Also have added TCPA compliance information to make sure that everybody understands those regulations and the liability if they don't abide by them. So there is a sample packet if you need it. Lexi put it in the chat too. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys onboarding survey. This one we pay for. What I mean by that is the person that owns this gets bonused based on receiving them. And the main reason why is I want to know how we're doing with experience. And the other reason is I'm essentially paying for Google reviews, and I'm happy to do that. So what this looks like is when you go to our survey, and I think Lexi has an updated version of this is like V1 stuff. So you guys can modify and make things better. But our goal is to give you a 5-star experience. How would you rate your onboarding transition meeting? How would you describe the paperwork? Is there anything, if there's anything we could change to make it better, what would we do? Did we cover all of your questions, or do you need someone to reach out and clarify and schedule a one-to-one? How clear are you around who to go to for help inside the market center? On a scale of 1 to 5, how was your technology experience? And how would you rate the value of our core classes? Because we've got a curriculum kind of to get them started. What's one thing we can provide to take your business to the next level? Are you dual career? Are you a veteran? This is my favorite part. Who are the top 3 agents that you know that would benefit from a move to Keller Williams? Here's the thing, guys. If you're not doing this, set a goal that every hire you make refers you 3 more people. Best practice. And we ask them multiple times in multiple places for those referrals. And we let them know our goal is to earn them. Okay. Who are your favorite vendors or affiliates to do business with? That's a huge money maker for us. Outside income. So we want those recommendations. Who had the pleasure of onboarding you? Lexi added, I think somebody did. What's your big why? And then here is click here to go leave us a 5-star Google review. And then they click when it's done and submit it. So every person we onboard, we're building our Google presence through the 5-star Google review. And then this spits out onto a spreadsheet. And our DFI, who's responsible for this, so here, this is the thing, they have to produce and communicate the results, including the referrals. They call the affiliates because that's part of their role in our company. And by doing the communication of the results, they earn $25 per review as part of their bonus. So that's just kind of how we've set that up. Okay, so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. Offboarding tracker, very, very similar to the onboarding tracker. It's just the reversal of it. And it is less stuff, right? So we need to make sure we have a non-KW email address, and that's getting like now plugged into our CRM. Key fob. So we have a key fob policy. If they don't return the key fob or they have signs checked out or something like that, that's going to go on their office bill. So this is the templated email that kind of the DFI sends out as kind of offboarding them. So every agent that leaves gets an email from our director of first impressions explaining the process, the timeline on their systems. We don't ever try to hurt people as they're leaving. So like in some of our offices, they get dot loop. That automatically is going to turn off like after 30 days. We don't go in and disable people because a lot of times they come back to Keller Williams, and we've got to have standards and we have to have policies, but we also can make their transition out a positive one, right? So that is offboarding. We want to immediately take them out of any communication regarding chat, Facebook groups, anything like that. So we use a chat app called Connect Team. And it allows us to, it tracks birthdays in there. We have groups set up, like off-market inventory. If you have multiple state market centers, we have different groups for states. We have a top 20% group, so they can go in and they chat like 24/7 in this chat app. So if I have a chance, I'll show you guys that. So the next tracker I'm going to show you is our orientation tracker. So onboarding and offboarding, the DFI owns it, and they're managed by our MCA, right? Because that experience is ultimately falls inside the MCA's world. Orientation is their first 30 days with us. What are they working on to get their business kick-started? Okay. And I'm going to show you, we started this with a 90-day window kind of during COVID. And it was 90 days of stuff. And then when PC Coaching was kind of rolling their program, we saw there was a lot of overlap. So we essentially moved more to a 30-day tracker. That's a little bit simpler, but you've got a permission to play checklist, which is like, first things first, we've got to go join the MLS or the Realtor Association. Like, what are the things they get to do now? Do we have email signatures set up? Have we set up their marketing profile? So all the parts and pieces, specifically when we set this up, we tied in all the vital sign metrics. So have we helped them import their database into Command? Have they set up their smart plans? So we can track those things and make sure that we're actually activating their business in that first 30 days. So that you guys will have access to it. Also, our director of agent services owns this, and our goal is 90% completion in their first 30 days, 90% completion. Our director of agent services does new licensee recruiting, and they are bonused at their first closed transaction. Okay. So usually 200 or 250. And the way this works, and why we do it that way, I should say, is now we have a reason to help get them plugged into the resources and get a transaction under their belt. So somebody's partnering with them at some level until they write business, and they're actually compensated in correlation to either plugging them into a team, PC, whatever that looks like. That agent services person wants to help them find the resources and get their business going. So that is orientation. We have an orientation binder. So you guys will have access to this when they come in to onboard. So during COVID, we used to give them deliverables. And then during COVID, everything went digital. There was a lot of confusion still, because I think a lot of some people like the tracker. Some people want that paper piece. So the orientation binder, you guys have a template of, is we put a 3-ring binder together. It has their name at the top where it says orientation binder. So when they come in, it's customized to them. And it includes things for them, like our locations, important things they need to know about the brokerage, like brokerage numbers, licensing numbers, the real estate commission. This is the market center leadership team and contact information. what each person kind of does. Cause also like people get confused and they're like, I don't know who to call for what. This is our ALC. So one of the things we do at onboarding is we connect them with an ALC chair. It's not for mentoring, it's so they can get plugged into an ALC committee and also have an additional resource, an agent in the market center if they have a question or they get lost or whatever. So different committees. This is Lexi's kind of timeline for licensing. So what they do after they pass, which has association information. We do a complimentary package of 100 business cards and a name badge. In order to access that, we used to have that done automatically through Scott Leroy. And what we found is we had all these boxes everywhere of business cards nobody even cared to pick up. So now in their package, they just request a QR code from someone on the leadership team or a promo code. The promo code lets them zero out the package, but they actually get to go design it, pick what they want. And if they want to like buy more, that's okay. They're just going to get that. I think it's $25 credit on that initial purchase. So it lets them like do some of that on their own. And we save a ton of money because not everybody wants this. They want to go to Canva and design it. That's fine too. Access to their orientation tracker is in here. So where to find that. Classes, we have recommended classes. We have some required classes we want them to take in their first 30 days. We have a document in here that has all the playbooks. We also house these on our website, all the playbooks. So the agents can go get the playbooks directly on our company website. Command cheat sheets, how to set up your printer, like just stuff you think people might need as they come into your company. Let me go quick through this. These are all of the like the networks and divisions. So if people are interested in that, we put that packet in the printed binder. We also have Ignite. So if that schedule is out. Now, here's what I'll tell you guys. If you guys have taught an Ignite and recorded it in YouTube, I would just link this up to your YouTube. So at whatever time they join, they can go back and review Ignite sessions. There's your Real Agent Perks, which is our company insurance opportunity. What they get for their monthly office bill. That's in our recruiting presentation also. We have a sign guide. So the way we've set this up, we have a partnership with a signage company. He provides for us 20 free yard signs a year that we let people check in and out. And they're free to us as a market center because we promote his signage company to the agents in our orientation binder. So when I say we don't pay for anything, like we don't pay for anything. Anything. Yeah. Find a way to partner that you get what you want and they also win too. So that's in here. There's MVVBP, what is culture, opportunity map. We've got the Kellerisms, the old school Kellerisms are back here because nobody knows what a TL is or an MCA or a PC. So those are in here. Facebook pages, we recommend them going and joining. And then we've got a little sample script binder back here and also sample contracts. And so what we've done with the contracts is we have all of the required documents pre-filled out, right, by our broker, like what to put in each line, and they're in the back of this binder. So if you have a brand new agent come in and they need to write an offer, they at least have a roadmap on what to do, and they can attempt to do it and then send it to the broker for approval. But the sample contracts have been super helpful for us. Sarah likes the sample contracts. Yeah, if you don't want to get that 11 p.m. call on Friday night, all of this, by the way, I should say, all of our systems came from some form of pain, right? You guys are like, oh, I answer that question all the time. If you're answering a question repeatedly, it's probably a missing system, right? So, okay, this is a big one. And we set a goal for $20,000 a month in outside income. I'm going to tell you that I taught this class last quarter and a girl named Gabby out of Atlanta attended, and she stopped me at Mega Camp and she said, oh my gosh, we did the class, we started our affiliate program, and we're already at $30,000 a month, Tara. And I was like, okay, so I'm shooting too low here. And so I'm gonna kind of walk you through what this is. So there's varying degrees of thought on the vendor or affiliate program. And I have been to trainings in the last few years where it's been recommended to not have one. What I'm going to tell you is our model, Keller Williams model, is to create outside income. That outside income is a huge source of profit for the market center, like immediate profit, right? So we can create outside income, we can rent offices, right? We can reduce expenses. I mean, the model is pretty, or we can recruit company dollar. It's pretty basic. So this is a big one, outside income. And the way we set ours up, you guys are going to get all this. So the way we set this up in this tracker is we've got tiers. Okay. So you'll see on here, silver, $250 a month, gold, $800 a month, platinum, $1,600 a month, right? And what we're looking for is to get people excited about this value proposition. They're paying, it's a switch cost. I'm going to give you $250 a month. And for that $250, I get all of this stuff, right? And if I pay the $800, I get all of everything in silver, and I get all of gold, and platinum gets everything. Platinum for us is one person per kind of category. So we can only have one platinum loan officer. We can have 5 gold level loan officers, but there's one platinum. We can have one platinum home inspector, right? And so they're always going to kind of get that highest level of access and the most exposure to the agents, right? So I will show you guys what this looks like here. So this would be kind of what it looks like. Actually, should I show them, Lexi? Let me show you a live one. Actually, let me go back to this one. I think Seven Hills probably has the most.
Sorry, which one are you looking for? I was trying to find a link. Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna just kind of show them like what it looks like when you
Yeah, ours is updated to now we have a monthly tracker in addition to like an onboarding tracker of the affiliates. But yeah, this is kind of closer to your template.
Yeah. So Lexi has basically taken the tracker and they've created monthly tabs. So the DFI who delivers the value on the back end of this can go through and check things off as she completes them monthly. Okay. But you can see this is an active tracker in one of my market centers, and we have everybody here at the top is paying money to be part of our company. They pay monthly, right? I think Cincinnati's around 10,000 right now a month. So the goal of this is ultimately that we're creating outside income and partnerships. And what this means, you guys, is, so it's a circle, right? This is how I think of it, as a circle. If an affiliate is gonna, so first of all, they pay monthly and then they pay for things in addition to that. Monthly is access, it's pay to play. We're still gonna ask you when you come to our team meeting to bring lunch. And they will, right? And we do a sales meeting every week, and we are booked out 6 or 8 weeks in advance for people to come into our sales meeting where they're gonna bring lunch for the whole market center. Right? But the thing about that is, if they're going to bring lunch, what needs to happen at sales meeting? We need a packed sales meeting, which means we've got to have value in our sales meeting. So when they show up, there's 50 or 60 people there and they get to speak in front of the sales meeting. And that's why they're providing lunch for us. So, this is a basic template. You guys can expand on this. Like the other thing Gabby told me they do is they have like a lead receiving Google form for this. I thought it was fantastic. They took this, they put the levels in a Google form. And so any of their agents can share that link out and people can click it and kind of like enter their information for more information. So I thought that was fantastic. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this, but I would just set your sight on, how do I get to $20,000 a month or more in outside income? Easy way to make money. This is the agreement. So you guys are gonna get a sample agreement, which we keep this in Dotloop or DocuSign, and it basically just says, you know, thank you, you've been invited to be a part of this program with us. Vendor value, you did not see on the tracker. This would be like your low income thing. So for us, it might be a staging company, a painter, a plumber, somebody that doesn't do like loan officers, title, home inspectors, all those guys are on gold, silver, platinum. But you might have a lower entry, you know, Cutco knife girl may not want to pay $500 a month, right? So we do a vendor value. There's all your levels. This market center also put additional sponsorship opportunities. This should look familiar. These are our events, right? And then there's the agreement that they fill out, they check what level, they put in their credit card information, and our MCA is able to set them up in billing. And we do an onboarding. Lexi has built in this office an onboarding tracker for the affiliates to get them onboarded properly, and then ongoing making sure they're getting what we promised to deliver. The other thing with the affiliates is the middle of each month. So our affiliates teach. I mean, I don't know about you all, but we want them to teach. They do lunch and learns and things like that. So around the middle of the month, this is a calendar invite we have for the DFI. So it repeats. She sends out a survey monthly to check in on the affiliates. We also want them to get a phone call from the DFI every month, checking in, touching base. How can we support you this month? The affiliate survey basically just says email. We've got multiple offices. So what office? How many referrals did you get from our agents this month? What can we do in the next 30 days to bring you more value? Would you like to teach a class next month? So we have our calendar kind of finalized by the 3rd Friday. So this is mid-month. We've got time now to book them into the training calendar. Which one of our agents is supporting you well? And do you have a success story we can share to promote your business? And then, of course, we're going to ask for that referral. Who is one agent that's not currently at Keller Williams that we should connect with this week? Okay, so this goes out monthly to the affiliates, so we can just do a touch base with them on the experience they're having. And then we also do for the affiliates on our external Facebook page, we want to promote their business every month as a partner with our company. And so part of that is we got to grow that Facebook following, right? I think our offices have between 4,000 and 5,000 followers, at least in all of them. We promote our affiliates also on those pages. So that's a win. It's one of the value pieces, but we thought we would provide for y'all some templates if you want to use those. You just set them all up, and then each month they're scheduled out inside your Facebook page or outside external Facebook pages. Next slide is our Market Center training calendar. We do use this. This is also in Google Suite. So here's the thing. Our DFI is responsible to put repeating events. So like ALC meetings, Market Center sales meeting, things like that. And the DFI makes it pretty and distributes it. So they're emailing it out, they're posting it, they're doing the things to promote the calendar. The entire team is actually responsible for building a value pack training calendar. So the team leader should be bringing top 20% events. Your MCA should be focusing on some of those basic trainings, P&L trainings, orientation, things like that. And then, you know, your ALC education committee is probably adding things, but this calendar, the edit access is available to everyone on our team, and they can go in and modify it and see it, you know, in one easy place. So this is August. We also have set up now We've got the training calendar, and then on the back of it, we have for new agents, all that new agent stuff. So we've kind of separated them so it's not as chaotic. So you can print it front to back if you have a coaching program or something like that. So the agents can kind of focus on the side of it that's going to fit most for them. We also keep our training calendar on our public facing website. So anybody in our marketplace can have access to our calendar and can come to the classes. They can also Zoom in for the ones that we offer Zoom for. Yep, we do invite, like Lexi said, share it with our zeros. When I was a team leader, every month, the first week of the month, I sent out our training calendar, a link for it online, and then my top 4 or 5 classes that I was either teaching or would recommend for a recruit. So our calendar got blasted out to, I mean, in Cincinnati, 10,000 agents a month. It was kind of one of our like value things. This is a Market Center social media checklist and procedures. So here's the thing about having a great training calendar. It also has to be promoted, because if the agents can't find the events, they're going to have a tough time. You're going to have a tough time filling your classroom. So we have kind of designated just the process for the events. And so what I would recommend doing is the calendar gets printed. That last Friday of the month, calendar should be done, right? And then third Friday of the month, calendar's done. The last week of the month, your DFI should be building all of the marketing pieces and content and scheduling it out for the month ahead. And it's probably like 100 or more posts, external and internal, so that when you head into that next month, stuff is just auto posting. Right? And so that last week should be promotion. So the calendar's printed. Somebody has to help, especially if it's a new DFI, know, is this a level 1, a level 2, or a level 3 event? And if I'm flying in James Shaw to teach, that's a level 3 event. I need a Facebook event for that. It's got to be emailed out multiple times, texted out, like all the things. If it's a class we have every week, it might be level 1 where we just post a graphic and we're done. Right? So you guys have to, you guys have an opportunity to figure out, like, how do we want to promote this to make sure that we get the highest level of engagement? And you're going to get this, and you can modify it as well and do what you want to do with inside your team. So I think we're ready to do a survey. If you guys would be willing to, again, I'm really working hard to bring systems training for market centers more into the conversations we're having, but I would really appreciate a survey. And KWU asked me to ask if there's anything specific. So rather than just put like 5 stars, like, hey, this specific part was super helpful, more of this or less of this, or Tara talked too much, or whatever that is, just put it in there. And that will help them know better how we can use this. So you're just going to go to the KWU survey, and no region. It's an online course. You're going to click course is not in the dropdown. The title is Market Center in a Box. My name is Tara Smith. And while we're wrapping up the survey, I would love to just have you guys share some ahas or questions that you have regarding the first portion of this class that we went through today.
I will say that we're a little challenged in Alaska right at the moment. And I will say that every situation and struggle that we are having, every opportunity for new development comes back to the fact that we're not doing any of this, which just makes me want to cry at my desk right now.
It's okay. Just put that in your survey and maybe email me separately, and I will pass that on, because I don't know that we have, I don't know that we've taught, like, we have so much great training, but it's a little more broad brush, right? We've not really said, like, this is what a great onboarding system looks like, right? Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Don't cry. Just maybe take one thing you want to get done this week before our next call, and you guys at least start it. And that's one reason we invite the whole leadership team is, first of all, everybody on the leadership team should know how this works. So everybody we hire either sits through this training with me, or they watch a video of the training. So when they come into the company, I don't know if you guys have experienced this. We'll hire somebody on staff and they're there a week or two and they're like, I think we should do this. And I think we should do that. What if we did this? And I'm usually sitting there going, we do all that, but they don't know because we haven't trained them. So once you set your systems up, you can do some video trainings and you can train your new hires on the processes and why we do it. Who else has a question or a takeaway?
No question, just wanted to say that this was amazing and very, very thorough, and you did an amazing job. So
Oh, thank you. It's interesting teaching off spreadsheets. Yeah, but we're going to email out the slide deck. So you guys, when you get it, you can just click on the QR codes, and those are all templated spreadsheets that will just copy into your drive and you can modify. Okay, we might have time for one more. Anybody else want to share like something you're going to implement, or anybody have a question?
Tara, it's Evie from Metro.
Hey, Evie.
Question for the affiliate program. Do you have them contracted per month, or like can the vendor actually sign up monthly, even like at different levels, or do you have to contract them for a certain minimum number of months?
Yeah, so first of all, when we didn't have the program, the first thing I did was we did an info session and just invited everybody we could. And there was probably 20 people at that first info session. And I just did this in Louisville again. Like we went into a new market center. It was negative $30,000 a month in profit. Negative 30. I had to get money as fast as possible. The first thing I did was schedule an info session for affiliates. We had 40 people in the room and we signed 10 or 15 in that first meeting. So the first thing we did, Evie, was sign as many as we could. Our contract says it's for a year. And if people challenge that, what I'm going to tell them is our goal is to give you a 5-star experience. If you're not getting it, we'd love an opportunity to correct it. And we have let people out of that. Like I'll tell you, we have, but it's very few. We actually, once you get to so many people, like you can't have unlimited lenders. It starts to dilute the value of that opportunity. So we have waiting lists in some of these categories now. So once you, and I will say this, we started lower. We did 250, 500, 1,000. Once we maxed out at the next January, when we did renewals or whenever, we increased the price because there's demand. So get it going. And then we add people all year. So that year contract, it's not just January to January. Like we're always asking people, what affiliates should we be in business with? Because we kind of want to have people coming in and out of the program at different times. If you guys weren't confident on the value, or you wanted to do a shorter period, you could do that. Like that's just an option.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. That's helpful.
Yeah. Very good. Well, you guys, I really appreciate you being on here. We're going to do this again next week and same time. And if you need anything, you'll get an email from Kent after this with the slide deck. But if you need anything or anything's missing, just let us know. Thank you, guys. Thanks for sitting on a Market Center Systems class for 2 hours.
Thanks, Tara. See you next week.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, guys.